And now, your forecast first from the CBS 17 Storm Team.
And good afternoon. I'm meteorologist Bill Ray. It's a hot Friday, mainly a dry Friday, but down in the Sandhills, not Fayetteville, but up by Lillington, you see around Pinehurst and Aberdeen, some showers moving toward the northeast, but they're very, very isolated. Nothing going on in the Triangle. And if you got plans for this evening, including high school football, most of those games should be dry as we're just looking for partly cloudy skies. And your forecast, that slight risk of a shower thunderstorm till about 7:15, mainly south of the Triangle, 84. Dry with temperatures, though, holding in the 80s throughout much of the evening. We'll talk about the weekend forecast and increased rain chances all coming up this half hour.
Now, breaking news from CBS 17 News.
First at 5, breaking news. CBS 17 just obtained cell phone video that shows officers on top of a man in Raleigh using their batons. Good evening, I'm Angela Taylor.
And I'm Marius Payton. We're told the video was shot today at the intersection of Garner Road and Martin Luther King. CBS 17's Amy Cutler is in downtown Raleigh, where community activists will hold a news conference to talk about that video and share their reactions. Amy.
Yeah, and community activists called the videos concerning. That is why they have scheduled this news conference. The man who shot those videos, Mike Crowder, is expected to attend. Now, at the beginning of the cell phone video, you can see a Raleigh police officer striking a man's back with his baton at least 12 times, while 3 other officers hold him down. A few seconds later, you see a female officer stomp the man's hand. At one point, 6 officers are trying to subdue him. In a second video, it appears a man on the ground bites the officer's leg. The female police officer then kicks the man in the head. Community activists say the incident took place around noon today at the intersection of MLK and Garner Road. We also looked up the guidelines Raleigh police have for baton use. According to a section of the guidelines, police batons should not be used unless the situation is violent and injury to the officer or a third party is likely. Now, important to note, the video is just a snapshot in time. We do not know what took place before it. Now, I have reached out to Raleigh Police and Wake County Dispatch, trying to learn specifically what led officers to this incident, what led up to the incident, and what happened to the man involved in it. We're going to continue to follow this closely. We will also be streaming that press conference that's expected to begin here in the next few minutes on our website. We're going to have much more for you coming up live at 6 o'clock. Live in Raleigh, Amy Cutler, CBS 17 News.
Amy, thank you. Still a lot we don't know. When the news conference starts, we will stream it live on CBS17.com and on the WNCN Facebook page. We can get all the newest information on this breaking story from the CBS 17 News app. Just make sure you opt in for breaking news and the weather alert.
And of course, we're waiting for Raleigh PD, who said they will issue a statement within the next 30 minutes. So we'll have that for you as well.
A Wake County man will spend the rest of his life behind bars for the rape of a 6-year-old girl.
The crime happened at a Raleigh church, and the culprit was already a registered sex offender.
CBS 17's Robert Richardson is digging deeper into the state's rules regarding sex offenders and churches.
Friday morning, William Coffey learned he will spend the rest of his life in prison. His minimum sentence is 85 years, or as the judge put it,
44,107,200 minutes. And when you think about that 8-minute segment of life that you stole from her, that segment's going to need to be repeated 5,513,400 times before you would even be eligible for post-supervision release.
Prosecutors say Coffey left a men's group meeting at Body of Christ Church for 8 minutes, during which he raped and sodomized a 6-year-old girl in a church bathroom. The church's pastor, Kelvin Redmond, made the 911 call. In a written statement, Redmond told me, "Like most churches, we believe in second chances, but in circumstances like this, we would never allow someone to knowingly attend or be a part of our services as a known sex offender."
I found out the state sex offender laws don't specifically keep registered sex offenders from attending religious services, but if there is a registered school or daycare at the church, registered offenders can't come within 300 feet. Body of Christ Church doesn't have either.
A change to the law in the past few years prohibits sex offenders from being within 300 feet of any place where minors congregate when minors are present. A group of pastors in Carteret County are working with advocates for registered offenders' rights by filing a lawsuit over this restriction.
This is where pastors will be able to say, look, You know, you don't have the right. The state does not have the right to come into the church and tell the church who it can preach to.
In Wake County, Robert Richardson, CBS 17 News.
Robert, thank you. 18 Raleigh police officers responded Monday night during rush hour to a chase following the theft of a stolen car. And tonight we are getting the first answers from police in the form of a report from the police chief to the city manager. Earlier today, CBS 17's Michael Hyland tried to ask the police chief about what happened. Michael.
Yeah, we just got a copy of that report within the last hour. This all relates to what happened earlier this week when a Raleigh police officer fired at a man as he was driving away in a stolen SUV. That led to a chase that started soon after. Video CBS 17 obtained from a viewer shows 18 police cars heading down Western Boulevard. The chase ended when the suspect, Ronnie Hyman, crashed his car. We've learned that the department's policy says no more than 2 vehicles should be involved in a chase unless they're specifically directed. The report does not address that. City officials say internal Affairs is investigating. Witnesses also have questioned why the officer fired his gun at the SUV as it took off from an intersection in southeast Raleigh. The report says the officer believed the suspect was trying to hit him with the SUV. It also says the time between when that officer got to the scene and when he fired was 3 seconds. Earlier today, Police Chief Cassandra Deck-Brown refused to answer any questions about this incident. She does say that there is body camera video and dash cam video of this and that the police are going to go to a judge to ask him to release that video to the public. In the meantime, we've posted this report at CBS17.com. Live in Raleigh, Michael Hyland, CBS 17 News.
Hopefully we'll hear from the chief at some point. Thank you, Michael. This time next week, districts across North Carolina will be getting ready for the start of the traditional calendar. In Wake County, more than 10,000 teachers are on the payroll, including new teachers just like Chase Lane. She'll be teaching 3rd grade at Reedy Creek Elementary School in Cary. Lane, whose student taught at that school last year, is spending the days before classes prepping her room and getting ready to meet her students.
I really want to get to know each kid. That's number one for me, is to build those relationships. But I also want to let parents know that I want them involved in my classroom and I don't want them to be a stranger, to feel free to help out, volunteer, or to just come in and read with some kids if they'd like to.
Wake County says it's still hiring teachers as well as bus drivers and other employees. Classes start Monday, August 27th. Lunches for school-age kids are as important as time in the classroom, but providing those lunches can sometimes be financially challenging for school districts when lunch accounts go unpaid. Tonight, consumer investigator Steve Sprasia digs deeper into the problem.
Unpaid school lunches are a growing problem. The School Nutrition Association says 75% of school districts nationwide had some sort of unpaid meal debt at the end of the year. Locally, CBS 17 Investigates found Durham Public Schools had an unpaid lunch balance of $209,000. Chapel Hill Carrboro schools are owed $19,000. Figures for Johnston and Cumberland County were unavailable. To avoid the cost of school meals, some parents do it themselves.
We pack our lunch at home.
Why is that?
Because I can do it fairly cheaply, and then I know what he's eating.
In Wake County, I learned there is no unpaid meal debt. The district telling me if a student doesn't have lunch money, they receive lunch of fruits and veggies at no charge. If they miss 2 or more days, the school counselor will call mom and dad to see if the family needs financial assistance or a reminder. The School Nutrition Association warns against lunch shaming, and some parents wonder if alternative meals set students apart.
Do you think that stigmatizes the kids having that special meal?
I think it might. It would be a very tricky thing.
Nonprofits like School Lunch Ferry and GoFundMe campaigns have popped up around the country to help provide funds for school meals.
Would you ever contribute to something like that?
I think so, probably. Yeah, I think one of the things our school does is donate to Backpack Buddies, which gives kids foods on the weekends that get school lunches, and so I think it's important to help kids out that need that.
The U.S. Department of Agriculture has issued a handbook on the challenges related to unpaid school meals and has issued regulations requiring schools to develop unpaid meal policies. It wants school districts to push efforts to collect money which is owed.
Around the country, in some school districts, they are considering the use of debt collectors to retrieve money from parents with unpaid lunch accounts. But that is not happening around here. For the CBS 17 investigators, I'm Steve Sprasia.
The former Raleigh swim coach charged with child sex crimes faced a judge today. Nick Walcotton is accused of sex offense with a child under the age of 15. CBS 17's Colleen Quigley was in court when he made his first appearance. Colleen.
Yeah, so Angela, today the judge reduced Walcotton's bond from $2 million to $1.5 million, and he's not allowed to have any contact with the victim nor anyone under the age of 18 without a parent's approval or supervision. Now, the 32-year-old appeared in court via video this afternoon, and in court, Walcotton's attorney asked for bond to be reduced, saying his client has no criminal history, he's a decorated swimmer, and has a new baby. Now, Walcotton's mother, wife, and child were in court today. Now, prosecutors say they felt, given the nature of the charges, the bond was too low. They said they have photo evidence, a confession, and text messages between Walcotton and the victim. And the prosecutor said they also have concerns that Walcotton could try and get rid of evidence.
Just kind of another consideration on bond is whether or not there could be destruction of evidence. There is a text message chain between the victim and this defendant in which he does encourage her to delete a lot of their correspondence.
Walcotton has served as the coach with the Marlins of Raleigh for almost 3 years until he was fired August 2nd, according to the swim club's head coach. Now, according to warrants, this crime happened on or between June 1st and August 1st. But in court, Walcotton's attorney said the charges actually stem from one day in particular. Now, Walcotton is due back here in September. Now, I know a lot of you have been talking about this story. So today I sat down with the experts to see how parents can talk to their kids about this topic, and if there are any red flags parents should be looking out for. Reporting live in Raleigh, Colleen Quigley, CBS 17 News.
Colleen, thank you. Formal charges are expected to be filed on Monday against the North Carolina man accused of killing his wife and daughters in Colorado. CBS 17 first showed you this video of Chris Watts in court last night at 5. In front of the judge, Chris Watts didn't have anything to say. Police recovered a body believed to be Shanann on an oil field where her husband worked. Bodies believed to be Bella and Celeste were also found in close proximity to their mother. Investigators have not revealed a possible motive, but friends say Shanann expressed concerns of infidelity.
It came to her mind that possibly he could be cheating.
Law enforcement will not confirm nor deny claims that Watts confessed to killing his wife and daughters. And coming up at 6, the emotional social media post from the victim's brother and why he says he is trying hard not to hate his brother-in-law.
New details are coming out about the death of notorious pirate Blackbeard. Nearly 300 years after his death in North Carolina, documents show the man that authorized the hunt for Blackbeard didn't have the authority to do so. Historian Kevin Dufus says the pirate could have received a pardon from the King of England, but the lieutenant governor in Virginia had Blackbeard hunted down first to boost his political standing. Blackbeard was killed on Ocracoke Island on November 22nd. Back in 1718. And we still don't know what happened to the Howard Street sign on Ocracoke Island. Earlier this week, we told you someone removed that handmade sign put up more than 100 years ago by a direct descendant of Blackbeard's quartermaster, William Howard. People from all over the Carolinas have offered to replace the sign. Howard family member Martha Garish says she'll post all the new signs that she receives.
Well, it is the next to last weekend before school starts up once again.
So, Bill, should families head to the beach or the mountains?
Well, probably both areas are going to get some rain, but here's Ocracoke Island, as you were talking about. Beach water temperature looks pretty nice to swim in, but what about coming from the sky? We'll take a look at the forecast from the mountains to the beach coming up next.
And the hope was to have a tunnel between the fairgrounds and Carter Finley ready by the start of college football season. Coming up, how much longer fans will have to wait.